If you've only had hummus from a grocery store, you might think that it's really good. But if you take the time to make it at home yourself, it can actually be so much better. Let me show you how to make it. The star of this show are the garbanzo beans, also known as chickpeas. And I'm using dried variety here. You can use canned if you want. And I'm going to use about a cup and a third worth of chickpeas, dried that is. And I've soaked this in water overnight so that they can plump up like this. And I just used a 2-to-1 water to chickpea ratio. So to cook these chickpeas, I took a pot that's big enough to house all of the said chickpeas, and I took the chickpeas that had been soaking and drained it of its soaking liquid and then dumped the dried chickpeas into the pot. And then I grabbed some water and dumped it in enough to cover it about an inch above the chickpeas. You're now going to go ahead and season the entire thing with a generous pinch of salt and any other spices you would like bay leaves, peppercorns, whatever you want. I just chose to keep it simple here. So now I'll bring it up to a boil, and when it hits the boil, I'm going to go ahead and drop it down to a simmer, having slight bubbles here and there. I'm going to go ahead and give this a stir every once in a while so that the chickpeas don't stick to the bottom, and I'm just going to cook this for about 45 minutes to an hour. And you know it's done when you can pick one up and just give it a squeeze and it breaks like this easily without any pressure. Once it is cooked through, go ahead and drain it of its water. You can save that to make like vegan meringue or whatnot, but I have no use for it, so I just drained it out. And once it is drained out, go ahead and throw it on a baking tray like this so it can cool down and actually dry off a little bit. So it's essentially letting all that moisture evaporate off. And just pick off any bad ones like you see here. So if you wanted to use canned chickpeas, that would be totally fine. It would save you the hassle of thinking ahead of time to soak the chickpeas and then to cook them like I did. If you do use canned chickpeas, this whole process will only take about 5 to 10 minutes tops. I like cooking my own because I typically have dried chickpeas in my pantry, so they're always ready for me to go. Again, feel free to use canned chickpeas if you want. Anyways, back to the recipe. Once the chickpeas are dried and cool to the touch, go ahead and whip out your favorite food processor and just dump all your chickpeas in. To this, you're going to go ahead and add in the tahini paste or sesame paste. And you're going to need more than you think because this is what gives that hummus flavor you are familiar with. In a pinch, you can use peanut butter, but really try to look for the sesame paste because that will be better. Add in 1 clove of garlic and some lemon juice, which will just brighten up this dip and cut through the fattiness and the heaviness. And speaking of fattiness, let's go in with a big amount of olive oil. All the amounts will be in the description box below, so check there. And then go ahead and season this generously with some salt, more salt than you think, and some pepper. Now pop the lid on and go ahead and blend this up until it's smooth. Now, if it is looking a little dry like it is for me, you can add in more oil or more water, whatever you want. Just keep in mind, if you do add in more oil like I am, it's going to make this a little heavier, a little fattier. Also keep in mind to add it in incrementally and not a lot at one time because you don't want to add in too much. Because you can always add in more, but you can't take out the liquid. Anyways, keep blending this until it is smooth. The consistency will be up to you. I like it to be almost smooth with very fine chunks in it just to give it a little bit of texture to this. But go ahead and give it a taste and season it to your liking. So I needed a little bit more salt and a little bit of more lemon juice. Again, I'm going to blitz it up just so the seasoning can get mixed in. Once the seasoning and texture is to your liking, it is done. So now we can go ahead and plate this up. To do so, I like getting it in a dish with high sides like this and then just dumping it all in. And then with the spatula or an offset spatula, I like to smooth it out all the way to the edges. And then I like getting little dimples here and there so that when I pour in some more olive oil, it will actually get caught in the wells I am making in this dip. And speaking of the olive oil, I'm going to drizzle just a little bit in, maybe 2 tablespoons worth, not too much. Optionally, you can sprinkle on some smoked paprika. I like it because it adds a smokiness to it. But this is pretty much it. You can serve this up with some homemade pita bread or store-bought, that's fine. But once it looks like this, it is time for the taste test. Wow, look at this. I mean, okay, the red oil looks like it's chili oil, but it's not. It's actually like that olive oil. I drizzled it on and it got infused with the smoked paprika because, I've been leaving it out. I've been taking thumbnails and pictures and whatnot. But what's important is let's give this a try. Okay, so I've had this usually with pita bread, so I have some homemade pita bread. I'm gonna use this to dip. Cheers. This is so good. You can taste the tahini that's in there. It's very nutty, it's very earthy, and then blended with the chickpeas and the olive oil, it's very creamy. So it's just perfect. And then the garlic that I put in there, I know it's just one clove. It might look like a little bit, but it is raw garlic, so it will pack a punch if you put a lot in. So all it did with that one clove, it just gives a nice tingle of garlic. And with the smoked paprika sprinkle on top, it gives a nice smoky like after note to it. And just eating with the pita bread is just so perfect because it's just nice and soft, and then with the creamy dip. So as you can see, it's really easy to make when you make this at home yourself, and it's really fresh because you can eat it right away rather than the ones from the store that has been sitting for God knows how long. So give this recipe a try. Let me know how it goes in the comments below. For more videos like this, hit the subscribe button or that one right there. And for my previous video, go ahead and hit that one right there. And I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you. Bye.